Welcome everyone to Session 7, Quit Faulty Thinking. We're just, again, so glad to have you here. And so Joe, let's begin. I know you developed the theology and practice of these I quits over a 16-year period, but that this one in particular was a later addition for you. So tell me how that happened.
Over the years, as the quits were unfolding, I actually got some more training in how to bring experiential learning to my discipling of people. And one of the things I came across that I thought was huge was this idea of assumptions we make so many times in relationships. And so I began to pay attention to how people were relating to each other and talking to each other and assuming things. And again, because we are leaders in a church and we have access to a large community of people, I could see this dynamic going on constantly, and I saw firsthand how when people made assumptions about things, it wreaked havoc. It wreaks havoc in families, it wreaks havoc in marriages, it wreaks havoc in small groups, it wreaks havoc in churches. And so I said, you know, there's a lot of faulty thinking that does not belong to the kingdom of God. And yet, again, it's like one of these things that we do it without, we don't even know we're doing it. It's like the air we breathe. We all have lots of areas of faulty thinking, not just assumptions, but making assumptions without checking them out with people to even find out if they're true. The area of expectations, unspoken expectations, unrealistic expectations. There's a lot of faulty thinking wrapped up in that. There's a lot of faulty thinking around the idea of when we take things personally and they weren't intended personally, that can be very painful. When we think that things will never change, when we overgeneralize, there are so many areas that we all do faulty thinking in. But what's sad about it is, as followers of Christ, we don't think twice about it. And it really does impact our ability to love well. I mean, big time.
You break down faulty thinking that distorts our way of seeing and experiencing life into 3 categories. Yep. Let's take them one by one. Mm-hmm. So first, talk to us about taking things personally as one faulty thinking. So
this is a big one. And I found myself doing it, and every week I have to pay attention to it. So for example, you send someone an email and they don't respond to your email. What's the story you begin to tell yourself? Oh, I knew they were mad at me. Or I knew they were insensitive or irresponsible. You know, it's just like them to do this. They're playing passive aggressive or whatever it is, but we begin to tell ourselves stories about things, and when we haven't checked it out to be true, our interpretations usually go to negative conclusions, not positive ones. I don't know why, it's just human nature. Or let's say you applied for a job and you don't get the job. So now you start telling yourself a story. What's the story you start telling yourself when you don't get the job? You know, you were called back, you even got the phone call back, you even got the interview. But then you don't get the job. We begin, oh, I'm terrible, I'll never get a job. And you begin to take it personally, and it wasn't meant personally. You know what? The boss's nephew got the job. Is this maybe something as simple as that? We don't know, but I don't want to jump to conclusions. Your family or your friend didn't call you for your birthday. They didn't send you a card. You begin to tell yourself a story. You take it personally, and it was never meant personally. And so it's very much like this. You start out with what happened. They didn't send me a birthday card. And so now you tell yourself a story about why they didn't send you a birthday card. You know, I'm not important to them. I knew they didn't value the friendship as much as I did. The problem is, that's now the truth. See, here's what happened, but now you put your truth on the story, and that becomes the truth. Okay? When in reality, they are sick, or they just really genuinely forgot. You're very valuable. Or they didn't know sending you a birthday card was important to you. You grew up and those kinds of things are important to you and they didn't know. That's not a value for them. That's not how they value your friendship. There's lots of reasons, but it's a real problem when we take an interpretation, put it on it, and then that's the truth. That's not the truth. You don't know the truth until you check out your assumptions, okay? And in the meantime, don't take things personally. Do not take things personally.
All right, second major category is things will never change. As a second faulty thinking.
Things will never change. I'm going to always be stuck in this job, or I'm always going to be stuck in this place I live, or I'm going to always be stuck with this family, or whatever it is, or in this relationship, or this difficult situation. And that's not true. That's faulty thinking. And actually, that's a major cause of depression when we have that kind of faulty thinking. Because there are lots of things that we can do. There are skills we can get. There's knowledge we can get. There are courses we can take. There's new information that I can get to change my situation. And so it's really faulty thinking to believe that things will never change that can change. And it's just as much faulty thinking to think that things won't change or that they can change and they may never change, okay? You know, a lot of times kids are hoping their parents will get back together and they're divorced. And for them to think that this will change, that's faulty thinking too. And so the key is to be realistic, because unrealistic thinking is a major source of depression. And we just don't have to live like that.
And then finally, the third major category of faulty thinking you point out is overgeneralizing. So why don't you give an example of that too?
Right. So maybe I didn't do a good job, you know, speaking at or teaching in a seminar or something like that. And I can go home and begin to think like, I'm horrible, I'm terrible, oh, you know, and I overgeneralize and it becomes I'm a terrible person and life is terrible. When that's not true. It's not true. I just need to think like, hey, okay, what did I do that was good? What could I improve on? But when you make one mistake or one aspect of your life isn't good, doesn't mean your whole life is bad. You know, oh, I really overspent this month. I'm horrible. No, that's not true. Just your finances are maybe not in good order, but you have your health, your marriage is doing well, your kids are doing well, but you can see how we can easily get down and overgeneralize, and it's a big problem in our humanity, and think that everything's terrible because one thing didn't go well or isn't going well.
Okay. Wonderful. Now they will be doing the skill, stop mind reading, at the end of their group time as an application to quit faulty thinking. Can you tell us about skills and why they're so important?
So, right, so you're going to learn one skill, and we have developed 8 skills because we really believe that in order to love well, and in order for you to flesh out, you're fleshing this stuff out in the small group, which is wonderful. This is a first step. But a next step I would highly recommend after you finish this group is to get a hold of what we call 2.0 emotionally healthy skills. And in that, you'll learn how to stop mind reading, how to clarify expectations, how to declare your preferences, and so on and so forth. So look for those skills, and there's information about it in your workbooks.
Great. With that, I want to invite you now to your workbooks, follow the instructions, and dig into the material around quit faulty thinking. Thanks.